Walls of a Four Seasons loft. In Austin, I stall, pause. My eyes crawl to a table. Tradition written on walls throughout halls of a Four Seasons loft. In Austin, I stall, pause. My eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Throw dice and woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors appear, clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving the grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose.
Yes, we do. We manifest dreams here on the Unpopular Hour with Matt Clark. Of course, this is Women Only Wednesday. So, coming to you today from Rococo's. I'm trying to finish up my tuna salad sandwich. First time I've had one in a long, long time, and it is absolutely fantastic. That being said, I want to welcome you again to the show. Having a great time. Tried to feed my face before the show started. Did not quite get the chance to finish everything, but I will just as soon as the show is over, I will finish what's up. So that being said, hopefully everybody's having a good day. It's nice and cloudy, not as hot as it has been here in the Oklahoma City area and Oklahoma period. Around its, I guess, southwest part of the United States, it's been absolutely brutal as far as the heat has been concerned. So, but anyway, last night was the All-Star game, and so, we watched the All-Star game, and the American League continues their dominance over the National League, winning 3-2. I thought it was great what they did last night with the uniforms, and the whole celebrating Jackie Robinson was absolutely fantastic. It was a good game, 3-2. But the thing reminded me of why I don't really watch baseball as much anymore. But I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the prelim with Denzel coming up and his what he said in the beginning, and he is such an autocratic speaker. The way that he speaks, and I saw Shannon Sharp this morning, and he was talking about how there's some people different people can read a script, but that certain person reads it and it's just perfect the way he did it. But when he came out of the dugout, everybody just went crazy because I was like, whoa, what, Denzel, what's up? And I think everybody in the crowd and the audience appreciated it. And of course, it was jam packed and people loved what he saw. But the things and what Jackie Robinson represented and what it meant for baseball and what it meant at the time. And so we're going to get a little deep today. We're going to be discussing more in depth about why are there not more black baseball players like there used to be. I mean, right after Jackie, immediately after Jackie, there's a show that I want everybody to watch on Hulu, and it's called After Jackie. And and it's talking about, and I'll just bring this up, it's talking about the guys who came after Bill White, Kurt Flood, Bob Gibson, and Willie Mays, Ernie Banks, and Hank Aaron, all of these guys, but it primarily focused on Bill White, Kurt Flood, and Bob Gibson and what they experienced at St. Louis. And what most people don't realize is that they thought, like, when Jackie Robinson came in, that it was going to make everything better. What people don't understand is that, yeah, in some ways it allowed black players to get into the league, but as far as not being able to stay in the same hotels as your white teammates, they broke into detail about St. Louis and how they'd go down and other white players got to stay in a certain place, and Bob Gibson walks in and goes, hey, I'm Bob Gibson, blah, 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 and they're like, oh, yeah, well, you go right out, and he goes, I'm here, you have a reservation, and he goes, yeah, you need to go over there with your teammates are through there. And he goes, my teammates? He goes, yeah, your teammates. And you go through, he walks through this door, and then there's a colored cabbie, waiting for him to take him to this lady's house. And it was just interesting to know what these guys went through that the players today have no idea what it was like back in the day and what these people went through. And then most people have no idea who Curt Flood is. And it's ironic because Curt Flood is the first one who challenged. How do I put this delicately? He's the first one that actually challenged and said, "Okay, you don't own me." And back then, teams and owners, they owned their players. Okay, I'm mad at you, boom, I'll send you over here. I'm mad at you, I'll send you over here. I'm mad at you, I'll send you over here. They could send you to the worst place and one of the most racist places in professional baseball at the time were the Pittsburgh Pirates. So anyway, they talk about that and how they could send, and that's where, they wanted to trade Curt Flood. And, they won the 64 World Series, and Bob Gibson was unbelievable. And then they won the 67, and then they wanted to break up the team. And it's just interesting that Curt Flood and most players in basketball or in baseball and football don't understand. He was the first one that said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have a choice. My family lives here. I do this." He's the first one that really opened up free agency, and the free agency today is a byproduct of what Curt Flood did way back then. And people don't understand. He ruined his career. His career was over with because of what he did. And that's the amazing thing about all this. And when you look at these guys, and it's just amazing. Bob Gibson, what he went through. And, when Curt did this, when he went to the Supreme Court, the only people that went for him were Hank Greenberg, who was the one or two Jewish players in the league and everything that he went for. Jackie Robinson, who basically was on a cane and had diabetes and died 2 weeks later, which was ironic. And my mind just went blank on the other owner that Bill. My mind just went blank. That went to speak for Jackie. Now, of course, the Supreme Court denied Curt Flood's petition against baseball, but the bottom line is it was set. The foundation for what players would do and be able to say and have their own minds about what they could do in the future, that they could kind of dictate where I want to go and who do I want to play for. And all of that was a direct result of Curt Flood and what he did. And it's sad that people don't know that. And it's sad that the players today, they have no sense of history. They have no idea what was transpired before them, what allowed them to do what they did. Like with me, I understand, I appreciate it because, people don't understand is that, and I know, is that when I was 11, my parents weren't allowed to come watch me play basketball because it was an all-white gym. So here we had to go play against this all-white team in an all-white gym, and all the things that were said and whatever, which I'm not going to go into because this is not about me. This is about baseball. But anyway, the racism and stuff that these guys went through, and how finally the St. Louis Cardinals were the first team to say, okay, we're not going to do that. So August Bush, being the billionaire that he was, or quazillionaire, or whatever he was at the time, when they bought their own hotel, fixed it all up. And it was one of those motel, like a Motel 8, back in the day where you had the little swimming pool, and you had the little hotel rooms where you come in, and, you had the metal door and all that. So anyway, he just bought that, and he put all the players and all the families and everything in one deal so they could all swim together, they could all be together. And so they were the first team to really come together as a group, and it bonded their team, which allowed them to go ahead and win a couple World Series simply because he made the one move. And, Derek Jeter made a comment, which I still love. Loyalty one way is stupidity. I mean, listen to that again. Loyalty one way is stupidity. And basically, that's what it was. The players were loyal to the owners. It was one way. It wasn't working. And what the owners did is the owners came out and said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make everything cohesive. We're going to be a group. We're going to be together. And when that happened, sports in general started changing. And most people don't even realize that the Washington Redskins were one of the most racist organizations in the history of football. Most people don't even know that. You look at their roster now, you wouldn't believe that. But that's how it was back in the day. So players today have to go back and understand what allows them to do what they do. And Mookie Betts has been outspoken about it. And so anyway, on Shannon, he was talking about why there are not more black baseball players today. Because, you would have thought once Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, that there's going to be this onslaught of baseball players, the black baseball. Well, that's not what happened. And he did, but they still got called the N-word. They still weren't allowed access. They still couldn't do this. All the things that Jackie went through, these guys right after him, and I just showed you the list of the guys, they had to deal with that. And remember, Hank Aaron, he got death threats when he was about to break Babe Ruth's home run record. Death threats. Now, of course, he was in Atlanta, and Georgia wasn't the most friendly place there was for African Americans at the time, but it was interesting that they did that. So when I look at the progress of baseball, when I look at what Jackie Robinson did and how these guys who came right after him, they were still playing, they were still outstanding, but they still had to go through all the crap. You couldn't stay with the players, you couldn't this, you couldn't that. So it was interesting that that this documentary, like I said, go watch it on Hulu. It's called After Jackie. It's really, really good. It's really worth it. But the reason why Sanders said to Shannon Sharp today was that because when Deion played and when I played, it was so cheap to play. I mean, everybody could get in playing, and you had this influx of all these black baseball players in the 70s. Now, it took 20-something years for it to actually happen, but it did happen after Jackie broke in. But you had all these black players. And then what happened is, now it's like golf. Like when Tiger came in, I am Tiger Woods, I am Tiger Woods, I am Tiger Woods. Do you see a bunch of black golfers? No, you don't. I mean, there's Harold Varner, there's a couple, but there's really no really black golfers because the price of it is so expensive. And then on top of that, what do fathers do? When a kid is little, what does a father do? He gives a kid a bat if he played baseball. He gives a kid a football if he played football. He gives a kid a basketball if he played basketball. He gives a kid a hockey stick if he played hockey. If he played soccer, he gets a soccer ball. Whatever your dad did or your mom did if there's no dad around, that's what you gravitate towards. So how many black baseball players are there now? And then on top of that, baseball is so slow, kids are they want something now. One of the best things the NBA did, even though I hate it, is that they cut out all the physicality. They made it to where teams could score. You couldn't go down the lane and get killed. They moved in the three-point line. Most people don't know the three-point line is closer now than it used to be. So they moved that in so you score more points. Football, what do? You can't hit the quarterback because the quarterback is hurt, then you can't score as many points, which is why Tom Brady has benefited so much from today's rules because you can't touch him. So, but what they do, they go, hey, we want the game more exciting. Baseball has to make the game more exciting. And these kids, when you look at baseball is the one sport that you can play the longest. I mean, there's a LeBron in there every now and then, and there's a Tom Brady in there every now and then where, they play forever. But for the most part, the average shelf life is 5 years. So, when you look at that, you go, okay, baseball. What is baseball? Baseball has one of the best medical deals. If you get hurt or whatever, they take care of you. Deion Sanders says, he's got 8 toes. He's fighting NFL about, trying to get stuff taken care of. NFL's fighting him. And NFL is the most violent sport that there is. But yet they don't want to take care of their former athletes. Baseball, not that violent, but hey, look, let's take care. You need dental work. You need this. You need that. Deion talks about he wanted his grill done. What he did? Baseball took care of his grill. And he's fighting football over this. So that being said, and I'm not trying to get back off of it, but basically what's happened to the black baseball player is that, what I just said. There are few black baseball players because, A, it's more expensive than it used to be. B, you have to travel all over. One of my friends, he spends $30,000 to $40,000 a year taking his son all over the United States playing baseball. His son's on a traveling team. And then back in the day also, we had, aluminum bats and all that stuff was provided for us. Now, our parents had to buy your glove and your cleats. But it's totally different now. You go play basketball. Only thing you got to buy is shoes. Your uniform's taken care of. Basketball, everything's taken care of. Baseball, you got to buy a bat. You got to buy a glove. You got to buy cleats. You got to buy, you got to spend all this money. So these kids are getting priced out of it. And then the second thing is their dads aren't playing baseball. Their dads don't know anything about baseball. So you have more white fathers who are playing baseball. The guys that I know, if they're black and they're a basketball player, their son has a basketball in his hand. If they're white and they're a baseball player, the son has a baseball in his hand. If they're white and they're a golfer, their son has a golf club in his hand. Whatever your dad did, whatever your dad excelled at, that's what you do. So when I look at this, that's the biggest problem that sports is facing today. And black athletes are facing today is that our dads didn't play a sport. Now, my dad played baseball and basketball. Excuse me, played baseball. Now, I played baseball and basketball. But my son, I said, hey, man, whatever you want to do. You want to play baseball? You want to play baseball? You want to play football? You want to play football? You want to play basketball? Whatever you want to do, go do. I could care less what you do. Just do something. And he's a rapper. That goes to show you, he's a rapper. You know, nothing to do with sports whatsoever. So it happens that way. But in the black community, what do kids want? They're either going to play basketball or baseball. Basketball or football. And I do like the fact that soccer is on the rise because of you're seeing more and more black athletes on the USA soccer team. Back in the day, you never saw black athletes. They were all white. Now you're seeing more and more black athletes playing soccer because why? Parents are like, okay, football, all these head injuries, CTE, all of this. So how do I keep my son safe? Oh, I can put him over here in soccer. And so the black athlete is getting moved away, slowly but surely, away from baseball. Slowly but surely it's getting moved away. And the sport that's taken up, if they're not playing basketball and they're not playing football, they're playing soccer now. So all your good athletes are starting to do that, which is going to help the USA men's national team do more and more and get better and better because more of your athletes are starting to do that. But how does that help baseball? Well, baseball has got to figure out how to make itself more exciting. But baseball is also the most tradition-laden sport. This is how we do it. This is the way it's done. This is the way it's always been done. So by God, we're going to do this. Well, dude, you got to change to be successful. You got to change to be successful. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to discuss a little bit more and some other things. But we're here at Rococo's on Western. I finally got their store hours correct. I screwed that up, so Bruce won't be mad at me now. I got the store hours correct. They're open Sunday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then on Fridays, they're open from 11 to 11. And on Saturdays, 11 to 11. So I got their hours right, so I'm happy about that. I don't have to get beat up by Bruce and getting the deal. But for more catering events, you want to go ahead and call them at 405-534-8838 for any caterings. That's 405-534-8838. Contact them. They've got great catering, and their food is absolutely fantastic. And if you've been to Rococo's, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's not a hard it is not a hard sell at all. And then I also want to thank my guys at Collaborative Logic. If you have any IT needs as far as your network or computers or anything else, they can remote in and help you out that way without actually coming in, which they did that for me. So if you want to do that, go ahead. You call my guy Mark Long over at SRB for any engineering, surveying, or planning. Oak Grove Trucking, my guy Jose Fierro for that if you have any big trucking needs, and NAFCO. And then once again, remember I'm at Rococo's on Western. They're open 11 to 10 Sunday through Thursday and 11 to 11 on Fridays and Saturdays. And for anything you want to call them for, 534-8838. So hit the boys up and just let them know what's up. Those are my peeps. And please call them if you have any questions. And also I want to thank my people at YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. You can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com if you have any loans that you want to procure via pre-qualifications as far as cars, houses, anything. If you're one of those guys who want to come in and flip houses, they're the people. Or if you want to do anything commercial, they are your people. So anyway, that's kind of what I was talking about, why there are not more black baseball players and the Jackie Robinson Tiger effect. Now, with Jackie Robinson, the effect did happen over a long period of time, but like I said, the the decline of the black baseball players simply because A, it was too slow. B, their dads just didn't play, didn't know enough. C, the inner cities got away from that. When I was growing up, there were baseball fields everywhere where you could go play, sandlot and whatever. Nowadays, you can't. There are no sandlots. There's nowhere to go play. The place that I used to grow up playing over Corpus Christi, that field is gone. It was 2 blocks from my house. Go over there, and we had, had the backstop. Base was all good. They did a great job. Catholics, of course, did a great job of making sure the field was always done. They knew that, all the kids in the area were using the deals. We played basketball on their courts. They'd have nets and stuff up for us. Now all this stuff is gone today. There's no where the baseball field where we play baseball is gone. Where we play football, that's gone. All this stuff is gone. Kids today and now with specialize of what people do now as far as baseball is concerned. Well, now your kids on the team and y'all travel all over the place. Basketball, same thing. Your kids on the team, you travel. Like I coach my team. We traveled once a month. We went to either Dallas or Kansas or Missouri or Houston or San Antonio or Austin or whatever. We had somewhere to go. And that's exactly what's happening with baseball. And it's so expensive now for these kids, these inner city black kids, they cannot afford to do that. So what's happening? Once the inner cities, which was usually where a lot of the baseball players came from, that's gone now. And then you've got the kids that are Latino coming from Latin America. What do? They have the same fields I used to have, these dirt fields or whatever. They're out there playing sandlot, getting better, understanding the game. Because baseball is more of a game where you have to, in basketball, you can be athletic. In football, you can be athletic. You can come in and guys go, well, I didn't start playing football or basketball until I was in high school. Well, in baseball, you start playing baseball in high school, you way behind the curve. You got to learn how to hit the curveball. You got to learn how to hit the ball. You got to learn how to feel. You got to learn the rules. Baseball is a lot more intricate. So, therefore, you have to have coaches who understand the game and can play. But it's also expensive. Like I said, one of my friends, this kid travels all over the United States playing. Soccer is getting to be that point, too. They travel all over the United States to play. But at the same time, you have more black kids who can play soccer versus baseball. Because soccer is not as expensive as baseball is. Because in soccer, what do you need? You need cleats. Tons of balls. With baseball, you got to have a bat. You got to have a glove. You have to have these extra things that some of these inner city kids don't have. And a lot of them, and I can tell you, I've coached a few that I've had to go pick up in the hood. And you got to give them shoes. You got to give them this. And you're talking about 15 kids you got to buy shoes for, you got to buy bats for, you got to buy gloves for, you got to buy balls for. It's not a cheap sport. It's like golf. It's not cheap. And so a lot of these kids that you think were going to do something now are not allowed the access to do those sports. So now they can go play basketball because it's a little bit cheaper. They can go play football because it's a little bit cheaper. Now, football, they give you now, if you're on one of those traveling or competitive, I guess that's the word I'm looking for, competitive teams of football, man, you got to have all this equipment. You got to do this. Well, I know guys don't have to buy anything. They go out and get fundraisers and pay for all that stuff. So where are the black baseball coaches taking these kids from the inner city and saying, hey, listen, you can be good at this. You can hit the ball. You can feel. You can run. You can do all these things. We're going to go out. We're going to raise. How many kids do you see on the corners today, teams that have signs up that, hey, car wash, or we do this, they have to raise money. And every time I see a little kid team, even though it was like one time, when I was coaching, one of our competitive teams was over in my neighborhood, right, on the corner, needing money. Boom, here's $5. Coach looked at me, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to help you guys out. We're going to kick your butt anyway, but we're going to help you out. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. It's just hard for me today to think how far baseball has come and how far baseball has dropped. When it started with Jackie, the height of it in the 70s and 80s, and then the slow decline in the late 90s and the 2000s. It went from 60-something% to 8 now. But now they said, well, we still have minorities, Latinos. Well, yeah, you do. And they are minorities, but they're from Latin America. They're what blacks used to do because back over there, all they could do was play sandlot. All you could do is play dirt fields and play pickup games over there. That's the way it used to be here. It's not that way anymore. Now they're playing basketball. Now they're starting earlier in basketball, first grade, second grade, stuff like that. They're starting way earlier now. And they're playing on teams. So that's making a huge difference. It's just a sad thing. I would have thought that we would be further ahead than where we are. And it's pretty sad about it, but it is what it is. Now I want to talk about something fun. The Celebrity Waiters Night benefiting Upward Transitions at Hideaway Pizza and Automobile Alley, which is downtown on Broadway, if you don't know where that's at. It's 901 North Broadway Avenue from 5:30 to 8:30. This is the 8th, 9th year or whatever I've done this. I forget how many years I've been doing it. But it's always fun seeing all the former OU guys and OSU guys, and it's a fun deal. That's where you come out and you have your friends come out, and 100% of your tips go towards Upward Transitions. They do receive a percentage of your tab, and then, of course, you can make the extra donation if you want to, and it's all tax deductible because they're a 501c3, so Upward Transitions. And whatever Upward Transitions, and the reason why that I deal with them is for one simple reason, is because of what they do with the handicap. With the homeless. Because a lot of times, some people, not all homeless, are these people you see on the streets, that are just basically hanging out. And there's that homeless. And then there's the homeless people who've lost their jobs and they had to go in the shelter. They got kicked out of their apartments. They got kicked out of their houses because they lost their jobs. Now they've got jobs, but then they can't pay the deposits for the electricity, for the water, and for the gas, and their first month deposit. So what Upward Transitions does is they help them transition from homelessness back to the real world where these people have jobs. They want to work. They don't want to be in a homeless shelter. Who wants to have their kid in a homeless shelter? Nobody wants to have that. So these people do a great job of going out and doing that. So I hope that you come out and support them. And once again, Randy Wright, I do not, here, let me put it on camera so I can get this, so I can make this, really. Every year, my guy Randy Wright does the same thing. Bro, do you deliver? Randy Wright, YNB, Yukon, America. I do not deliver. Once again, I do not deliver. I am not going to deliver. And every year he asks me, and the same question, the same answer is the same answer. I'm not delivering, Randy, so stop. Of course, he just sent me a text. Do you deliver? No, stop it. I'm not delivering to you, bro. I'm not delivering. Now, I'll meet you for a cocktail, but I'm not going to deliver to you. But I will meet you for a cocktail. And yeah, what? Don't start with that what. Yes, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm trying to do my show, so leave me alone. But anyway, every year my boy Randy Wright does this. He will text me like while I'm waiting, hey, we want this pizza, trying to order pizza by text. First of all, call Hideaway, give them your deal, and then they will deliver out in Yukon or the Hideaway close to them or whatever. But I'm not delivering unless you're buying cocktails. Then I may go ahead and deliver out there. So that being said, here's the question of the day. The question of the day is really simple. Is the NIL hurting college football? Is the NIL hurting college football? Now, if you listen to these big guys, Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and all these guys, they'll say that it is. What say you? I say that it doesn't. Oh, no. I say that it doesn't, and this is why. To break the news, the not knowing news, NIL, name, likeness, or name, idea, and likeness, name, image, and likeness. The only difference is now you're paying people above the table. I hate to break the bad news, this has always gone on. The best players have always gotten paid. Always. The difference is now is that these bigger schools who have all the money, but you're going there, you think it's like Nick Saban. Stop it. Kirby Smart, stop it. Oh, it's going to ruin this. If I had money, it would have ruined me. No, it wouldn't have. Or maybe it would have. It doesn't ruin everybody. It's like child stars. Some of them it ruins and some of it doesn't. Who are you to say what's going to do it? But this is what I have a problem with these big time coaches. The TV's contracts are coming out and you're paying your conference all this money. So your school is getting all this money, which means more money for you. Now you all of a sudden you have a problem with you not being able to go give grandma a refrigerator or, move mom and dad into a better house that's, instead of 1 bedroom is 3 bedrooms. Or you're giving them a job or something like that. Instead of little stuff, now all of a sudden part of the money that you probably would have been getting in your salary is now going towards these guys out in the open. And you have a problem with it. And the problem I have is you're a hypocrite. Why would you want to stop these kids from having money? Now, he's going, well, these younger kids, these freshmen, they're coming in with all this money, and these older kids, they should get more money. Well, if you balling, you're going to get paid. And don't act like these kids at Georgia or Alabama or Oklahoma or wherever, they're getting paid. Don't act like they're not getting paid. There's alumni. If you're one of the stars on the team and you're a junior or senior before the NIL, you get money. You ain't running around starving. That's BS. You're lying. You are lying. Those kids are getting money. Those kids are getting paid. Don't act like they're not. The difference is they're still getting paid under the table versus these guys are getting paid over the table. And what's so funny is, what people don't understand is for football, if these guys getting, let's say, $500,000, well, first of all, you got to pay taxes right off the bat. First of all, second of all, you're there for 3 years, so that's only what, a little over $100,000 a year. Guys are making that anyway. If you think these kids, the best ball players aren't getting $10,000 a month at least, you're crazy. The best ball players in the biggest schools, they're getting at least $10,000 a month under the table. Now they've said, okay, well, you can write this check on top. We can give you this money up front. I don't think it's right for these coaches to come out and be against this. This is stupid. All you're saying is you still want to make all the money. You still want to have all the control. Well, I agree with Shannon. Well, if I was balling like I was back then today, oh yeah, I'm rolling up in a Benz, or I'm rolling up in a Tesla, or I'm rolling up in a G-Wagon, or bro, I'm going to be rolling hard. That's what I'm going to be doing. So all this stuff that they're saying now is a bunch of crap. I'm sorry. The NIL, all NIL is doing is bringing what was once hitting out in the open. That's all it's doing. And you coaches, the only difference is that these alumni now are you're having to spend more money out in the open than you would before, because the kid is going, look, Georgia, Alabama offered me $500,000. Oh, Texas A&M offered me $600,000. Oh, LSU offered me $650,000. Or Oklahoma offered me $700,000. Oh, USC offered me $700,000. Oh, Oklahoma State offered me $800,000. Whatever it is, they're getting offered all this money. And now you're in a competitive war in the open, not in underneath. You can't slide over there and hook them up with a car. You can't slide over there and do the things that you used to do. Now it's all in the open. And guys like these guys is driving me nuts that they are against it. But why are they against it? You're not worried about them after they get out of school. You don't worry about them after they get out of school now. And people can say what they want to about Barry Switzer. I went to this golf tournament. This is probably, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And we're at Toby Keith's place in Moore. And so anyway, we're at Belmar. And we're playing in this tournament. And, Barry's like, he's looking down at us, and it's me and a couple of his football players, his former players. And he goes, when I went into your mom's house and your grandma's house, I didn't expect when I told them I was going to take care of you that I was going to be taking care of you 40 years later, or 30 years later, or 20 years later. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, Coach, what the hell are you looking at me for? I didn't play football for you. And he goes, well, hell, you should have. And I go, if you hadn't introduced me to Leroy Selmon, I probably would have played football for you, but you made the mistake of introducing me to him, and you forced me to play basketball, and therefore I went to Oklahoma State. So I don't want to hear it. But anyway, it's just funny with the NIL. It's not hurting college football. That's a bunch of crap. It's just like the kids transferring, the transfer portal. Not hurting college football. Not hurting college basketball. Not hurting college baseball or softball. Not hurting it at all. All you're doing is giving a kid the right to have and do his own destiny. The same thing Curt Flood did many, 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 many years ago. But Curt Flood paid the price by being ostracized and being beat up for what he did, to free it up for everybody else to have free agency, for everybody else to have the ability to make their own decisions about where they want to play football, where they want to play baseball, where they want to play basketball, where they want to play soccer. That's all they did. And now with the transfer portal, and this is a problem I have with all you people who have a problem with it. Okay, if I go to a school, I don't go to University of Oklahoma because it's University of Oklahoma. I don't go to Oklahoma State because it's Oklahoma State University. I go there for the coach and for the system that's going to help me get to the next level professionally. That's why I go to school there. So now you're telling me that my coach leaves, that I don't have the right to leave. Or if I'm not happy, or if they promised me that this was going to happen, it didn't, I don't have the right to leave. I'm stuck because they lied to me. That's a bunch of crap. And that's also by somebody who wasn't highly recruited, who did get lied to. That's you. If you were highly recruited or you got recruited and you got lied to and you got stuck, which is what it was back in the day when I was there. If I got lied to, I'm stuck. If I want to transfer, I got to sit out a whole year. So you get one shot to transfer anywhere you want. After that, you got to sit out a year. Now you've added the COVID year, so they get another year. So some of these guys are 6 years in playing college. I'm like, why would you want to be in college 6 years? Oh, wait. College is the most fun time you're ever going to have in your life. That's why unless you're a professional athlete, then it really gets fun. But that's also a business and not that. So, but anyway, I just don't think it's fair for people to come out and beat up these college kids. Give them the right to go where they want one time. If you get lied to, if you think you've gotten better, you should move on. That all these mid-majors are suffering. Well, first of all, nobody wanted the kid in the first place, and he came to your school, you coached him up, and he left. Well, coach up somebody else. Maybe that kid won't leave. Do your job, coach. That's what you get paid for, is to coach. So coach him up. So what if he leaves? And I think it's dumb for those kids to leave and go somewhere else. Stay where you're at. You're getting all this attention where you're at. You obviously the system that you're in is fitting. And that's what the mistake that these kids make. It's not necessarily you as a player. It's you as a player fitted in or that fits in with the system that school or that coach or that university has. That's what it is. How many times do you see kids, and I've preached on this before, how many athletes do you see all the time switch schools or switch teams, and all of a sudden they're never the same? Why? Because it was the system. That's what allowed them to do what they did. You know, Tyreek Hill, he's over talking about, oh, Miami, you know, they're our team is going to be as good as your 2019 team. Did you play with Chiefs? No, they're not. A2 is not Mahomes, and Jasicic, the tight end, is definitely not Travis Kelce. Stop it. You're still you, but the question is McDaniel going to be able to give you the system that you need to? Is he going to be able to do it? Or maybe it's not McDaniel, but whatever. I forget the guy's name. They came from San Francisco. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, come on now. Bunch of crap. It's the system. So if you're a player in college, you should have the right to go to somewhere else because A, you got lied to, B, your coach left, or C, you're just unhappy in a situation. You should be allowed one time to go somewhere else and see how you fit in. Is that going to be a better spot? And after that, you're stuck. You got to sit out. If you want to live again, you got to sit out a year. But now with COVID, that gives you an extra year. I don't know how much longer that lasts, but they get that extra year. So to me, NIL is great for college. Transfer portal, great for college. And once again, NIL, name, image, likeness, all it has done is open up the opportunity for kids to make money above the table legally. That's all it's done. It hasn't done anything other than that, than to make it available for that. That's all it's done. Because if you think cheating had been going on since the beginning of the time, you living under a rock somewhere, you got your head stuck in sand. I mean, how many athletes you know who come from nothing, who have cars, Trans Ams, they had Barracudas, they had whatever. Come on now, that kid is from, there's 6 people living in a 1-bedroom place. How is he going to afford a $40,000 car? This stuff has been going on, and I'm tired of these coaches talking the way they're talking about it. I'm sorry. It is absolutely ridiculous. So the question of the day, here, let me pull it up. Here's the question of the day, which is just ridiculous, okay? Is the NIL hurting college football? Hell no, it is not. And I just gave you a bunch of reasons why it hasn't done it. Man, I've been on a rant today. I don't know, my boy Drew Hinthorn of Husker Drew Picks has not been here, so I've been on a rant. But anyway, I want to take this opportunity again to thank my people at YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. You can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. And then, of course, you know where I'm at today. And I'm going to try to finish up my tuna salad sandwich here in a minute. But, of course, I'm at Rococo's on Western, 42nd and Western. And, right down from Sushi Nico, right across the street from the drum room. So if you want to go there, it's perfect. And, of course, across the street from VZD's. Rococo's on Western. They're open Sunday through Thursday from 11 to 10, and Fridays and Saturdays from 11 to 11. So anytime you want to come in, and they've got great food. If you need catering and events, you can call them at 405-534-8838 for any catering and events. Please call them. And Bruce, they do a fantastic job over here. And, of course, if you've been here to Rococo's, I don't need to convince you of anything because you know exactly how it is. And so, it's yummy and it's absolutely delicious. And I'm going to go back and finish up my sandwich over here. And you can see all those hard workers there behind me doing their business back there. At least they say they're working. I don't know what they're doing, but now they're actually working. But I love the view. I love the setup. And as you can see, we've got a perfect location for that. And, of course, they have the big screen TVs for you to watch any kind of sporting events because remember what's getting ready to come up. Football is getting ready to come up. So that being said, let's get into a little Thunder news because the Thunder have done some things. The Thunder have re-signed signed Kendrick Williams to an extension, 4 years, a 4-year, $27.2 million extension. And tomorrow's show, please tune in for tomorrow's shows. And here are a list of our shows. We have the Unpopular Hour, the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday, which is what we're doing right now. After the Storm, which is tomorrow. And on Thunder Thursdays, we're going to do After the Storm because we're going to break down what the Thunder are doing as far as salaries, what the Thunder are doing as far as the new facility or new arena that I believe that we have to have built. What are the Thunder going to do? We're going to break down, okay, here are the Thunder players that they have under deal. You can have up to 15. Well, this is what we got. All these guys aren't playing. Somebody's going to have to be in G League. Somebody's going to have to be two-way players. But when you look at the Thunder and you look at what they're doing, man, I just don't see it because right off the top of my head, but anyway, it'll be tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. So you guys go ahead and tune in to that. I hope you tune in. But, like I said, this is the preview of it. This is what you have. You've got SGA, you got Giddey, you got Dort, you got Chet. For sure, that's 4. And then you either have Wiggins or Robinson Earl. That's 6. Then you have Trey Mann. That's 7. Then you got Poku, and you just paid Kendrick Williams. That's 8. That's 9. Then the kid from Santa Clara, JW, he's been unbelievable. That's 10. Then you have Jay Will. That's 11. Then you got the kid, Ding, that you done paid, that you gave up four first-round picks, 4 and a second-round pick from France. It's 11. Then you got Baisley. That's 12. Or 13. I mean, what? Somebody not playing. But now, of course, you do have injuries, and you are going to have to sit people because what they do today is everybody sits instead of back in the day when everybody played. So, which is one of my arguments why LeBron can't be the greatest of all time, because he takes games off. If you're the greatest, you don't take games off. How? If somebody who can't afford to go to a game, you're on the road and you come to a game, these people spend all this money not knowing you're not going to play because they have to buy these tickets. These little kids are looking forward to seeing you don't show up because you've got to take time off for whatever BS that you're going to come here so you can take a day off to make your career longer. That's what you've done, so I can't give you any credit for that. But anyway, that being said, I just look at the Thunder and I'm like, how are you going to do all this? So tomorrow we're going to break down and we're going to give you the shit because the one thing that I was talking about earlier, the thing I love about doing live streams versus just being on radio is that, or podcast, is that you can see what I'm talking about. You can actually see because I do graphics. So when I'm just sitting there talking, you can look at it for yourself and be able to go, wow, that's interesting, or wow, I didn't know that, or wow, it's different than you hearing it and not being able to see it. So, yeah, I think that things, in our live stream, I think we're going to get more and more people because it's just going to be easier to understand what I'm saying if you can actually visualize it. And then, of course, you can go, if you have an interesting thing, you can go to mcsportsnetwork.com. That's www.mcsportsnetwork.com. And you can click on the website, go to After the Storm, go to the Unpopular Hour, the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday, and then any of my shows that we have done, you can go back and you can look at those shows and just kind of see what I was talking about, which is kind of like a podcast. You can listen to it in your car. If you have yours cleaned in, you can pull up your Facebook and boom, put it right there, sync it in with your car, and you can listen to it through your car, or you can watch it. And I suggest that you do either one, but if you watch it, to me, it's a lot easier to understand or follow what I'm saying if you can actually visualize it on your phone, on your tablet, or at your house if you're chilling. So, but anyway, that point, I want to thank my guys once again over here at Rococo's, 42nd, 4308 Northwestern. If you have a call for reservations at 405-400-7495. That's 405-400-7495 to make reservations for anything. And remember, next Monday is Fried Chicken Monday. Boy, I love some fried chicken, and I come here every other Monday to get that. But if you have any catering events, please call Bruce and the guys over there, 405-534-8838 for more information or to set up any catering that you might want and might need. So anyway, that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening and checking out the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesday today. It's been a good show. Sorry I rambled on, but, I'm really big into feeling not understanding or really being hurt by the fact that Jackie Robinson came in, he broke the color barrier, he did everything, he went through everything he went through. Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Bob Gibson, all these guys went through, Bill White, Kurt Flood. They did all these things. They went through Ernie Banks. They went through all these things to allow players to live in the same location as their white players. And they went through all these things with all the cursing and all the stuff, and they endured all that so that these guys can make the money and have the freedom that they do today. And then now black participation in baseball is going down and that. Tiger went through everything that he went through. Now there are not that many more black golfers. And it's simply because we're being outpriced. That's why you don't see many black athletes in tennis. It's just a hard thing. And then on top of that, it's what your dad did. Whatever your dad did, the kid did. Like I said, for me, I played basketball and baseball, and I was actually a better baseball player than I was basketball. But baseball was just too slow for me, so therefore I chose basketball. And I think that's a lot of problem that baseball is having that is so slow is that kids, they want gratification now, which is why basketball changed the rules with the three-point, now allowing people to get hit as much. And doing that. Football, the same thing, not being able to hit the quarterback, not being able to stop the wide receivers. People want action, score, 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 score. Now, I like a 1-0 game or 2-1 game or 3-2 game. I like that because it's about the pitching and all that. But at the same time, I can understand why some people hate it and it's slower. Now, for me, for example, I only watch the All-Star game pretty much, and I only watch the World Series. It has to be somebody I really, really want to watch before I do it. So that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching this edition of the Unpopular Hour, Women Only Wednesday, coming to you from Rococo's. Everybody stay safe.